Grimlord is currently in early access and free on Quest 2. Now this game, when you first get in, it feels like it's going to be a blade and sorcery type game, maybe crossed with a little Until Death, but this game really surprised me for how good it looks in early access. The graphics when you look at your armor up close, the reflections in it, and then as you get into these bigger hallways in the world, the game looks really good, although if you look at some things up close like the water, not quite as amazing. Grimlord advertises itself as an RPG that is native to VR interactions, with physics-based combat, all kinds of swordplay, and even some unusual mechanics you don't usually see in other games, like when I drop my sword, it's stuck in the ground. If I shoved it into a wall, it stayed there. And the parrying and combat itself actually feels really good. The skeletons that you're up against so far aren't the fastest at combat, but it gives you a good rewarding system where you can actually block an attack and then counter it. You can also use your fists to take them down. It's another game that is just fun to play. It takes you through a world, but it does feel like it's early access. I would highly recommend, if you're interested in any of these type of games, check it out. And so far, enough people have given it ratings. It's sitting right about a 4-star rating. Different ratings from people saying they love it, they can't believe it's free, and some people, of course, saying things like Battle Talent or Blade and Sorcery are better versions of this game. The game, of course, being in early access, it's laggy, or some people just hate the mechanics. I will say, personally, after playing it for a while, I was really enjoying it. You're having a good time punching these skeletons, and obviously as the game develops more, we'll probably see a more variety of enemies and other interactions in the game. I feel lucky that we get to play it on Quest 2 in early access free, because it is like $24 on Steam right now, although there's a demo over there as well. So if you're checking this video out right now, I'd say check out Grimlord while you can. Dreamland just launched a matter of days ago, and this social game feels a lot like the earlier days of Rec Room, or even some things like VR Chat. It has one of the worst locomotion systems to start. You can change it, but at first when you try to move, you see your avatar move around the room, and then when you stop moving, you teleport to the point where that avatar went. If you can get past that, you can switch to smooth locomotion, although it's very slow, but it has tons of little games in it. From a game where you're crawling through a dungeon to a game where you're shooting zombies, fighting through a cowboy and western themed scene. This game feels like it's early, but it feels like it could have promise for a brighter future if enough people actually check this out and play it. I will warn you now, I wouldn't try shoot the zombie yet. It delivered me one of my worst frame drops I've ever seen on the Quest. But with all that said, it's only got 3 ratings so far and it has a 5-star rating. People who've tried this out saying it's nice, the game functions complete, the way to play is different, they've met friends. Other people saying it's good, it's newly launched, but they have a lot of good shooting games. If you check this one out, I'd love to hear in the comments what you think, or leave them a review, because it's very new. People who find this might jump in thinking it's going to be better, or might jump in and be surprised that it's actually a pretty complete feeling game. Now, when I was testing Hyper Inferno, it was hard to get a really good beat on this game because it's only been out for a few days and it's a multiplayer action shooter, which really needs the multiplayer to be able to enjoy it. Although I had to navigate the lobbies alone, there is a Discord that they have where you can go to try and find more people to play in this. This puts you in these different cityscapes, flying around a hovercraft with 2 guns trying to take each other down in fast-paced action. The hovercraft can jump up surfaces that aren't too tall, allowing you to climb a bit of the surroundings around you, although a lot of times it'll clip you into a building and then shove you back into the course. The game advertises how it just puts you straight into the game. It doesn't take you through some long lobby experience, and it's true. When I first loaded up, it put me on top of a building above it. I went through a portal and then I was in the action, or lack thereof. Although it's really new, it does seem like this would be something interesting if you had a crew of people who like to play games together, or if you find a time with people on the Discord to check it out. With that said, it's barely been out. It has 0 ratings so far, so we don't know much about it, but in checking it out, it looks like it has promise, but it definitely has some glitchiness. The way you shoot the guns is kind of weird because it looks like the gun is still sparking as you're firing. Yeah, it's just firing one continuous laser out of it. It definitely seems like a small built project, but something that could have a future if it gets enough people in it. Now, Deceptive Reality still isn't out yet, but I wanted to include it on this list because you can get it in early access, and it was suggested by VR Lover to check this out. Too often in VR games, we get used to games not having a lot of storyline or anything in depth. This game goes a little far the other direction, adding a long narrative, a lot of comic book style cutscenes, but this game really gave me a feeling of if you took Max Payne, The Matrix, and a little Deus Ex and put it all together in one game. Now you can tell the game has been worked on for a while and it's still early. It's not the best looking game, but the environments are massive and sprawling, and the combat style, you better have some room for this game. You are fighting multiple enemies at the same time with real punches, 360-degree combat, and you might actually get a decent boxing workout while you're playing this. With all of that said, take my opinions with a grain of salt here because it does have a lower rating at a 3.5 with about 22 ratings. Some people singing its praises, best game, best team, but other people bringing up glitches with the movement, saying saying that they got stuck at a door part that just wouldn't even let them past it. Some people saying it didn't have left-handed support, with a lot of split decisions here on the reviews, 45% of them being 5 stars, 23% of them being 1 star. With that said, the demo is totally free, so if some of you check this out, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. It just feels like the kind of game we don't always get in VR, so I found it really interesting to check it out. If you've been interested in gamifying your fitness routine, Hollow Sweat is a new VR fitness app that just came out this month, and it does a lot of things we've seen in other workout apps, including things like boxing while you're standing, but it also adds things like crunches, lunges, side planks, and other things that have you working down on the ground. The big twist here is it not only uses VR, but it also uses pass-through, and it allows you to consume content on different sites while you're actually inside of it, and then that content panel can switch from side to side and follow where your head is going so that you're not craning your neck to look at some screen that's always in front of you. Of course, being another new app, we've got 0 reviews so far. It does talk about how you can even use heart rate monitors with this. It's got statistics system to help you track your journey. If anyone out there has spent any time in this yet, let me know. I've been in VR Workout, Supernatural, Lightboxer, been in a bunch of these lately, checking them out. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well on Hollow Sweat. For those of you who are actually excited about Volleyball, that weird volleyball egg simulator we found, I saw on Reddit the developers of another volleyball type game were bringing this one back up, Blobby VR. Now this is a casual arcade style multiplayer game where you are playing volleyball, but the twist is only with your head. You bounce the ball back and forth. Games don't last too long, only about 90 seconds. Completely free to check out if you're somehow into volleyball. I didn't think anybody was going to care about volleyball, but some of you said it was exciting to see it on the list, so here you go. With 6 ratings, it's got about a 3.9 rating. Only 2 people though have left written reviews. One said good, and the other one said pretty cool. Although we won't show you the text here, one of the reviews sounds like it was just a joke review. If someone out there checks out Blobby, let me know, because one of you who checked out Volleyball said you actually liked it. Surprised me. At first glance, Padel VR you might think is a tennis simulator, but Padel is actually its own game. It's like a cross between squash and tennis. Padel VR, currently in alpha, you can check it out for free. It's here to teach you more about this game and how to learn, train, and even play. With different modes, warm-ups, mini games, it's offering a lot in the way of Padel, which I literally had never heard about till I found this game. 9 ratings, of course, one of them says 10 out of 10 would make it again. So the makers of the game put that review. Other people still giving it good ratings. Some saying it's really good, they're excited to play, best game, but one person warning, it's dangerous in a small player. You should have some play space before you try this out. Sports games have been popular on these lists, so if anyone out there plays Padel, I would love to know that you actually play this in real life, and I would love to know how this compares. Now, a lot of you loved that I'm finding newer games for you to check out, but sometimes it means we find some really weird ones. The training facility demo is a free demo of a more full game, supposedly, called the training facility. Now, in the demo mode, you get basically the whole idea of this game, physics-based training simulator where you're running through trying to take out people that have hostages while not shooting the hostages. I was intrigued by the trailer actually because it kind of reminded me of like an old Goldeneye 64. It actually sounded like it pulled some of the sound effects directly from those same files. But when you get into this demo, you find out you only get 1 level of it, and it's one of the ones with like none of the assets actually fleshed out. The walls just look like these grids, and it's kind of fun just to run through once or twice. If you have 5 minutes and you're bored and want to check this out, you can check it out. It's only got 1 rating, which is 4 stars. They say they got to keep going for faster times. The demo's fun. You can restart and try and get through faster. I played through it a couple times to check it out. It definitely feels like one person designed this with the sound effects, the dialogue from the other players. And if you have 5 minutes and you want to check this out, go for it. I doubt anyone's going to get the full game afterwards, but maybe someone will just to see the rest of it. As we follow our descent into madness here on this list, Callie's Canine Agility Challenges came up, and I had to just download this to figure out what the heck it was. You know those shows where there's a dog owner and they're running them through some weird agility course, obstacle course? Well, you're basically doing that, but you're pretending you are the dog in this scenario. And not only God, I can't do this. And not only are you running through these dog-sized obstacles, you got to get down to actual dog size. I had to get down on all fours on the floor in my room to run through the tunnels and do these other things. I really want to email the person, shows their email right there, and ask them what this was about. Multiple courses, They say some fun, some difficult, no reviews. I don't think anyone besides me and Callie even know this exists. But now that some of you do, who knows? Maybe you've always fantasized about being a dog running through an obstacle course, and this is finally going to give you the chance to live out that fantasy. Last obscure weird thing that I found, Draw 3D. It says you can draw many colorful cubes, you move them around, you can even actually take files into Draw 3D and create your own objects in this, import them. This one was kind of cool actually when I was checking it out, but you gotta have that creative passion or something to make something out of this. So someone like me who doesn't do a lot of 3D modeling or drawing or scaling, I definitely felt limited by my own imagination and ability. So for someone who wants to, you could do something with this. Although I think about like Rec Room, which is free, you could go in, use the maker pen, and if you make an environment you really like, you can publish out on Rec Room for other people to check out. So probably more worth your time. But there we go. We got 10 more, some really cool and exciting, some yeah, whatever, but I checked them out for you, so maybe you didn't have to. Thank you once again for being here with me, and I will see you in another reality.